Do is you're going to use the straw and the carb cleaner. I don't have a whole lot left, so I'm not, because I already did this once today, take one, and so you're probably going to use a little bit more than I am. But
the jet brush. Jet brush.
Oh yeah, the jet brush. I'll be right back.
It just wouldn't be the internet without a cute kitten picture.
Alright, so we're back from intermission here. This is actually for a welder, but I have found that it works just as well for cleaning out ridiculously stopped ports. Just grab the little tiny guy, and perfect. Okay, so what you're going to do is on parts like these, any moving part, you're just going to hit it up with the carb cleaner. And again, I'm not using very much because I don't have a whole lot left. Start off and make sure you try to get that float bowl pretty much clean. That way you have a clean place to put your parts that you're cleaning out. So this has an actual jet in it. This is what I was talking about earlier. You're going to stick this down inside of the jet and make sure that you're getting nice and clean flow all the way through.
If you need to, too, for some of this stuff, you can use a soft brush if it's necessary.
I use a toothbrush a lot. Main jet. Looks like it might actually be stopped up a little. There it is. So when you spray through, and make sure that you're getting carburetor cleaner going all the way through the port. Again, it's got a port. Spray through it. Make sure it's not blocked up. And just in case you live in Michigan and it is early October, it gets really cold. Spray through the ports again. And the thing, this is the for the choke housing, so it's really not all that important. Good thing too, because I'm running out of carb cleaner. Alright, now this is the big one. So when we come down to the body, you can see two large ports here. This port is, what is it for? I don't remember exactly. I think it's, geez, I don't remember. It's been forever. But, you know, you got the main jet port in here, and there, you know, there's just little tiny ports all over the place. So you want to make sure that you're hitting those up. For example, this one here will commonly get clogged because it comes down to a really, really small one. So what you want to do is see if you can line that up, and you'll feel it just touch the hole. So what you want to do is fill that with carb cleaner and then poke around in there. And that'll help to clean out anything. There we go, and you'll feel it drop in. Alright. So I just mate the end up to the end of all the ports and spray in. And what you want to do when you're spraying through these, look at the other side and make sure it's coming out. Like for example, take a look at the choke here, and you'll see carb cleaner coming out, telling me the port's clear. Okay, so all those ports, and then what I'll do with the last of the carb cleaner I got left, give these a little bit of a bath. Because a lot of times with carb cleaner, you free up all the stuff, and then when the carb cleaner dries, it redeposits everything. So I like to give these a little bath. And a lot of people say you got to use cans and cans of carb cleaner when you do this. But as a counterexample, this is running out right now, but I've already cleaned the carburetor with it today. So I got 2 uses out of 1 can. Alright, swish that around in the carb cleaner. Just let it drain. Alright, That looks pretty good. Drop everything back in. Alrighty, should be good.
Ready to go back inside.
Just throw it all back together. Okay, so we got all of our stuff clean and ready to go back together. So we just dump everything out, and I like to start taking these rubber parts and make sure when you put these in, there's a thing that says up, that goes up, the pin goes down. I one time had a carburetor where those were in upside down. That of course caused it to not run. Alright, and this little O-ring goes back here so it can mate with the cylinder. Alright, set the float bowl aside, focus on this for a minute. And we need this. And so this is the seal that we took off of this, the pilot jet earlier. So drop that back on. And it's the only thing I need the 10mm socket for. And then drop the jet back in. And this will actually have a little wear spot here. I don't know if you can see that. And that wear spot will tell you which direction it was originally going, because these sometimes are bent to adjust float height. So you want to make sure that if this is a carburetor that you're not familiar with, you're putting it back together the way you got it, because you're assuming that somebody had it running right. So we're just gonna tap that back into place. Sort of. There it is. Okay, so now we can put the needle jet back in. So this one is a little tricky because there's actually a I don't know if you're even going to be able to see that with that camera, but a little brass thing there, so that this can only go in one way. So you got to try to line those up the best you can. So the way I usually do it is to simply drop it down in here and then put fingers in from either side here. If you look from the top, you can see the way that I'm actually going to position it with my fingers. And drop it in just like that. Alright, and just take a thumb and push it down. Take a look down here to make sure it's seated all the way, which it is. Very good news. Turn the carburetor over. Now remember, it was a little washer, a big washer, and then the jet end. So it's the little one, makes everything nice and flat, then the big one, and then this is what's actually going to hold everything together.
With O-ring if applicable.
Yeah. With O-ring if you're lucky enough to still have one. Actually, most of the carburetors I see don't actually have a larger washer there, and I don't think it's actually shown in the parts diagram. So yours might not have one. It probably won't have one. If it does, and this one, I'm assuming someone put it in to solve some specific problem. So don't be alarmed if you don't have one. It really doesn't need to be there. Take your pliers again. You know, and that's the sort of thing, you really don't have to Rambo it in there. It doesn't have to be all that tight, but you just don't want it falling out.
I'd like to take this point to point out Suzuki Toolkit, $20 online. Every tool you will possibly need to work on your TS for the most part.
Other than 8mm and a hammer and the wrath of God. Anyway, okay. So, float bowl's almost ready to go on. We just have to reinstall this gasket, which means just drop it in position and pop it down. Alrighty. And that goes together just like that. Drop all the 4 screws down.